Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. I have with us today Yogendra Jain. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's
Absolutely.
the he's the PhD scholar in insurance law at the National University of Juridical Sciences in India. Yogendra, thank you for being here with us, and thank you for taking the time of your evening to deliver this talk. And we're excited for it. Over to you whenever you're ready.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction. And it is a great pleasure to connect across the countries and in Canada. And my subject particularly is very much of interest to the people in US and Canada because I talk about something which is not allowed in India but allowed in Canada to some extent and absolutely allowed in US. So the topic, as you can see on the screen, is prohibition on trading in life insurance policies in India, a comparative legal study. Though it is talking about India, but because it is not regulated in India, not allowed in India, so more or less we talk about the US environment and the prospect of life settlements worldwide. But before I go into the talk, I would like to thank Maya and also Janani ma'am for giving for considering me for this and connecting India with Canada on this topic. So thank you so much for that. Now I'll start with my presentation. So basically, I'll make few things clear before I go ahead. I'm a law scholar. So being a lawyer and being a law scholar, we most of the time work on the theoretical things. Most of our researches are doctrinal and we work hour and hours on the legislations. So you will not see a lot of graphs and charts in this presentation, but we will talk about the core of society. We'll talk about how policies are formed and how policies are manipulated. I'll try to be brief in my discussion so that we can wrap it up in the time, and I can also make sense to the participants who have joined across the nations from different part of the world. So I'll start my talk with a simple quote that I found a few days back. It goes like, and I don't know if somebody can tell me who wrote this quote. Life is a precious thing. You never know when you are going to lose it. And whenever I read it, it actually hit me. Life is very precious, but we never know at the time when we would lose it. And perhaps that is one of the reasons why we purchase life insurance. Because we do not know the moment when we would lose our life. Not for us, but for our loved ones, we need some financial support. And that is why we purchase life insurance. But life doesn't go in a upward graph all the time. There are ups and downs in lives. So there can be ups and downs in everybody's life. There can be a situation which was seen at the time of AIDS crisis in USA and during COVID crisis in India and across around the world, that people lost their loved ones and they had nobody to give the benefit of their life insurance to. They were the only survivor. They had the only option to either surrender the policy or wait for the death. And after that, nobody will get the benefit. Now, this is a situation where we need to have a provision where people can trade their life insurance policies. Now, when we talk about trading life insurance policies, we come to a very important legal question. And that is, what is life insurance policy? Is it a security? Is it an investment? Is it a property? And that is where the need of a law scholar, pardon me, and the study from a law point becomes very important. So today, I discuss one of the major questions that I'm dealing in my PhD research, and that is the assignability of a life insurance policy in the secondary market. And I also urge other scholars in the area of finance economics who are working on insurance to share their views. And if they want to collaborate on that, I would be more than happy. So just to put things into perspective, a simple information I'll share with you. This is basically the data that I have got from IRDA regulations, descriptive statistical analysis. So I have gathered all the data from 2013 onwards to 2024. And what I found out is that people are buying more and more life insurance policies in India. Just because this talk is in a lot of people, I presume, must be in Canada. So I also took a stat from Canada. In Canada also, the premium collected per year is increasing, and it increased by 1% last year. And also by 2040, one-fourth of the population in Canada would be old age people, the senior citizens. And this is where we need to think. We need to think about the rights of senior citizens. And that is where this research becomes very important. But why exactly are we supposed to think about the rights of senior citizens? There are times when a people would buy a life insurance policy and would pay for their whole life, and there would be no need to surrender the policy. But it has been seen that out of 100, 8 to 9 life insurance policy lapse every year in India. So in India, life insurance policy lapse ratio is 8 to 9%, which is quite high. And when I tried to investigate into the reason of these lapse, I found out that the main reason for lapse is financial inability. Because of a loved one falling sick, or let's say because of losing the job, and a lot of other uncertainty in the current time of pandemic, people lose their financial income. And when they lose their income, they are unable to pay the premium. And when they are unable to pay the premium, only option available to them is to surrender their policy. Which takes me to the next point. Just look at the example. I hope the example is visible. The first bullet points. Maya, is it visible? Okay, yeah. So if we just take the first example hypothetically, Mr. A buys a policy at the age of 25. Premium is 10,000. It can be dollar, it can be Indian rupee, anything. I am presuming it to be Indian rupee. So Mr. A bought a policy at the age of 25, paid 10,000 rupee per year, and paid it till 55. And this is a real case study where a person continued the policy for 30 years. During COVID, he lost his wife. One son and one daughter both went to some other country, and they never looked back. In this case, the person had no money, basically left with no money. He was financially very weak because all of the money was gone in the treatment and all. And the only option left to him was to surrender the policy because he was unable to pay the premium. Now, the insurance company offered him 30% of the total premium paid. Total premium paid would be 3 lakh rupees. And it is important to note here that the death claim is 1 crore. Death claim is 1 crore. He paid 3 lakh rupees of premium, and insurance company is giving 30% of 3 lakh, which is just pennies, 90,000 rupees. In contrast with the death benefit, which is 1 crore. This is the current scenario of regulation in India and more or less the regulation in Canada as well. States are not allowing to trade life insurance policies. In India, I'll be very brief about it. In India, a company called Insurance Policy Plus Services started doing the similar business. Later on, which was the major life insurance company in India, which is LIC, Life Insurance Corporation of India, they said we will not accept all these assignments to the companies. And later on, High Court said that this is valid and trading should be allowed. Supreme Court of India also said that trading should be allowed. But still, because of some lobbying, there is no proof to it, so I can't put it in my PhD. But still, because of some kind of legislative interference, they got the bill passed because LIC is a government company. And in 2015, trading in life insurance policy was prohibited in India by Section 38(2) of Insurance Act 1938. So after 2015, there was no scope for trading in life insurance policies in India. To understand the meaning of it, when I went into the literature of it and I tried to analyze what is trading in life insurance policies in India, I found that it is legal in USA. It is legal in 42 states of USA. And I found it is a simple process where I purchase life insurance policy. When I am purchasing life insurance policy, there should be a person who has interest in my life, to whom I can make nominee. But this is not the case of secondary assignment. In case if due to certain emergency, I require certain funds, I should be allowed to trade my policy in secondary market to a person who do not have life insurance, who do not have insurable interest in my life. And that is called assigning your life insurance policy to a person who do not have insurable interest in your life. So that is basically assignment of life insurance policy without insurable interest. And that is what is not allowed in India and in Canada as of now. And this is where I'm saying that it should be allowed. But who will listen to me? I have to make sense. So I took it as my PhD topic and I started investigating into how can I prove the point that this life insurance trading should be allowed. And the major point that I am supposed to take is to prove that life insurance is a property. So how to prove that life insurance is a property? Just to complete the 2 points before I go to the property point, I just make a point. A very landmark is 1911 Grisby versus Russell, where Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes (OW Holmes) said that life insurance policies are actually have all the characteristics of property and they should be freely transferable. In 1911 or 1912, OW Holmes said that life insurance policies are properties. If I am buying life insurance policy, it is my property and I should be allowed to trade it. But governments are not allowing to trade it. Whether or not it is a illegitimate state intervention remains a question. And that is what needs to be addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not saying that life insurance trading is a good thing. It may work for a country, it may not work for a country. But my point is that it should be left to the market. Market should decide what thing will work, what thing will not work. State should not interfere excessively into the affairs of market. Because if that happens, that will definitely be a disincentive to the advancement, to the legal advancement and to the economic advancement by and large. As I already mentioned, in 1980 crisis, America has seen a surge in the bilateral settlement transactions. So this actually shows the success of this life settlement market. Now I'll be very brief. To keep things absolutely transparent, I have taken parts from my PhD, the regular presentation.
I think you're unmuted. Yeah, I think like you need to unmute. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm audible now.
Yeah. We can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. If I can get if anyone have any question till now, they can ask for anything, or should I continue?
Yeah, we can let the audience ask question after the talk, or like anyone in the room, please feel free to put your question in the chat, and Yogendra
Sure.
will address the questions later.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So basically, in case of any financial difficulty in India, you do not have an option. In Canada also, you do not have an option. You have to surrender your policy. This is the first dilemma. This is the first issue that we need to discuss. Another one is what is life insurance policy, which is by and large the main topic of my research. Should it be considered as property or not? And when I'll share one of my published research paper with you, you'll be amazed to see that we have closed our eyes. We are not ready to see the truth. We are actually giving loans against life insurance policies. We are assigning our right in life insurance policy to the creditors. If I'm a debtor, creditor can be assigned. So we are doing everything, but we are not accepting them as a formal property of mine. Now, why are we doing it? It is again a very mysterious question of the legal domain. Now, another thing which I have discussed is the need of insurable interest in the subsequent assignment, which I'm saying there is no need of insurable interest at the time of subsequent assignment. More than a very interesting thing is that when I did extensive literature review, what I found out is that the opinion is 50-50. Half of the jurists are saying that it should be allowed, and half of them are saying it should not be allowed. So it is very subjective from person to person. Opinion is very subjective. So it is very difficult to come to a very reasonable legal point and say that it should not be allowed. Likewise, it is difficult to say that it should be allowed. And that is where I'm saying that it should be left to the market. Legislature or the government should not decide whether should they allow it or not. It should be left to the market. I have four questions. I'll be very brief in the questions. So in this talk, I'll only focus on the first question. Whether or not insurable interest should be a requirement for the assignment of a life insurance policy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just take 1 minute to explain you this. This basically means that I am purchasing a life insurance policy. My nominee should have insurable interest in me. I'm not contesting it. I'm only saying that in case of any financial difficulty, after a certain point, be it 5 year, 10 year, or 20 year, if I'm required to sell my life insurance policies, then I should be allowed to trade my policy freely to a person or to a company who do not have insurable interest in my life. So this is the question that I have addressed by till now. A hypothesis is that the insurable interest doctrine should not apply to the subsequent assignment, as it is very clear by my argument till now. And but there is another thing, that permitting the trading in life insurance policy can give rise to moral hazard. For example, when I know that I can trade my life insurance policy in the open market, I may be a little more reckless about dealing with my life. You can take example of health insurance. When I know I have a health insurance, I may eat junk food a little more. That is what moral hazard is, right? Extension of somewhere the adverse selection, the extension of adverse selection, perhaps you can say. So that moral hazard, it can absolutely give rise to moral hazard, but that is another question, and not actually I have countered that as well. But in this talk, I'll focus on the first question, which is insurable interest. Why we should or should not have it at the subsequent assignment of life insurance policy. I'll be very brief with these few slides, coming to 3 slides, because it is more useful in the PhD defense, not here. So basically, this research leaves out all the things which talk about insurable interest, talk about the issues related to the people who have insurable interest. So I'm only talking about the cases where the person whom the policy was transferred did not have insurable interest. And for primary data collection, I have relied on in-depth interview of advocates, policyholders, judges who were involved in the judgment of 2015 High Court and Supreme Court judges, to find out what should be done, or what is the opinion of the experts in the field. This is also a part of my research. Objective is very clear: to scrutinize the need of insurable interest, to assess whether life insurance should be property or should be a security only, or to assess or to balance the divide of opinion in the academia. And another reason, which is the prime reason, and that is why I'm here, to catalyze and the deliberation in the given field, to motivate other people to do similar research in the similar areas. Literature review primarily is on insurance contract, because that is where we start. It goes to insurable interest. Then we have conceptualized the trading in life insurance policies, because then we can contrast it with the need of insurable interest. And then we have discussed the regulation of viatical settlement in US. I'll be very brief about it. I'll focus on the main topic. Research methodology, as I said, being a lawyer and a law scholar, we primarily are dependent on doctrinal legal research. But I've also done in-depth interviews to corroborate my findings. And I've also taken help of primary data from the regulators in India, but I did not find much reliable data on life settlements from USA and also from UK. I did not find much data. So for that, I am not, the only source is LISA or few other organizations. But for India, I am relying on IRDAI data. For secondary data, there are many textbooks, there are many researches. People from finance have done amazing research in life settlements. People from economics have done a lot of equation-based researches, which, being a law student, I very frankly, I would say I am not much into that, but I would like to collaborate with somebody if I can be of some use, being from the law background. So all of that I have considered in my research, and I have tried to increase the wealth of my research. Just to give you an idea, I have 2 publications till now in this area. I am giving a reference of it because I'll take you to some of my publications to give you idea about how have I connected, and what methodology have I used. So just for that, not to show that I have done something, I have nothing. Only for the reference purposes, I have done that. So a very important point in my research was Prisma analysis, which is preferred reporting preferred reporting items for systematic review and meta-analysis. So I have analyzed law in India and in USA, and hand in hand, I have also done Prisma method analysis of the available literature. Just for a minute, I'll take you to my paper where I have done it. So this is one of my published paper where I have done Prisma analysis. To show the authenticity of the work, I'll just take you to the chart. So there are two sources, Google Scholar and JSTOR, as you can see. I have relied on these sources, and boiling down from 75, I have come to a corpus of 16 articles. I have read these articles and I have done systematic review and meta-analysis of these articles, and I have found few insights from them. And those insights I'll share with you very briefly so that we can make sense without complicating the things. So when I did systematic review and meta-analysis, I found out few themes in the papers. First theme was assignment of life insurance policies. All of these papers were talking about assignment of life insurance policies, and they were not contesting assignment at the to a person who have insurable interest. But when it comes to transfer without insurable interest, there was enough heterogeneity. In terms of moral hazard, it was very interesting actually. We can talk about it only for an hour, but I'll be very brief about it. A lot of papers were saying that moral hazard is present if we trade in life insurance policy. Allow me 2 minutes. I'll give you a very interesting example of food for thought that you can also think. And if you are interested, you can also write a paper on it. Just take a simple example. Moral hazard. What is moral hazard? Moral hazard is a situation in which there would be in a very simple manner, any possibility of doing something immoral, to be very plain. So let's say we allow trading in life insurance policy, and tomorrow I trade my life insurance policy, and a company called ABC Limited bought my policy. Now, the people in academia are saying that ABC Limited will buy a policy, and there are chances that you will be killed for the benefit. So there are chances, because by my death, company will get the benefit. Company do not have any other interest in my life. So it will give rise to crime. And this is a very funny argument, I find. Because when I found this, I went back and I tried to analyze, and I found a lot of cases where the son killed the father for the money of insurance. So even the people who have insurable interest, they are killing their loved ones for the money. Then whose responsibility is it to protect people? Ladies and gentlemen, it is only the responsibility of the state. State has the duty to protect every individual because we pay tax. We have surrendered certain of our rights to the state, thinking that they will protect us. And this is the duty of the state to protect us in any situation. They cannot say that ABC or any economic advancement we will not do, because then your life will be at risk. Life is at risk even when I keep my son a nominee or I assign my rights to my son. There is a chance that he will kill me. And there have been cases, there have been documentaries on this. When I went in deeper into the analysis, I found few sorry, sorry for the interruption. I found few web series also on this. Sorry for the interruption. So, this is the funny thing about moral hazard. We say moral hazard is present, and I think state is running away from the responsibility by just naming moral hazard. Moral hazard is not only present when ABC Limited is buying it. Moral hazard is equally and in proportionally there when even my son is the nominee or my son is the assignee. So I don't see any scope of moral hazard in trading in life insurance policy. Third thing, insurable interest. Now this is the main point which we have been discussing. And I am saying I'll be brief here because we have been discussing it, and I will also discuss it in the future in the coming slides. So insurable interest is basically a financial interest in the life of insured. If I have bought the policy, then only the person who has financial interest in my life, who is financially dependent on me, or who is my loved one, can actually have insurable interest in my life. And that person can only be a assignee or a nominee in my policy. I'm saying that this should be removed, not fully, but to a certain extent. So my argument is that when a person is buying the insurance first hand, insurable interest should be a requirement, which means that I should not be allowed to buy insurance policy for Maya or for Janani, for anybody. I should only be allowed to buy a life insurance policy for my loved one or for myself. Nominee should be my loved one or a person who has financial interest in my life only. But in case of a financial hardship, after a certain point, for example, in New York, it is 5 years. After a certain point, I should be allowed to trade it. I should be allowed to transfer it to a company, a registered company, which buy my policy and give me a certain lump sum benefit out of my death claim. For example, if death claim is 1 crore, I'll get around 50 or 60 crore, depending upon how many years they calculate I will live. There are moral hazard issues regarding that also, that my life being calculated and I'm getting benefit if I'm getting more benefit if I'm living less. I don't find anything wrong in that. Basically, the concept of life insurance is dependent on assessing the life. If I start smoking today, my insurance company will increase the premium. If I start drinking more, my insurance company will increase the premium. So nobody is thinking about lives. We need not be very moral at a certain point only when we talk about life settlements. It's market, and everything has a value, and every parameter is calculated to find the value of human life. Then why not life settlements? And my argument is that insurable interest should not be a requirement at the subsequent assignment of life insurance policy. Other are very similar and easy things only. Ethics of trading on death, as I said, as I just mentioned when I was discussing the moral hazard example. Another is freedom of contract. There are a lot of discussion on this in jurisprudence, in legal theory, that everybody should have freedom to make contract as per their own choice. I'll not go into the detail because that will take much time. I'll be focused on insurable interest. Now, this is where I have a problem: intentional interference with the economy. State is trying to control the economy beyond a certain point, which is actually hampering the economic development itself. If it is allowed, we can make a whole investment class out of life settlements. But government is not allowing it. Just give me a minute. I think I have a message. Oh yeah, that was actually required. Thank you so much, Janani. Crore means 10 million, lakh means 100,000. Thank you so much for that. I think with the advancement of ChatGPT, we will not have it in some time, because I was seeing in India we don't use this term meticulous so much. But when these days I search something on ChatGPT, I see meticulous so often, and I can see my students using the word. So even in the terminology, be it some specific measurement related or be it general, ChatGPT is actually making us global. But thank you so much, Janani. Yeah, yeah. So another important thing is disclosure and transparency requirement, and this is where I'm a little worried, because even in USA, companies are not disclosing their transactions, and this is an issue. This is an issue, and everything should be freely available, and the consumer should not be defrauded because of their capacity not to understand the technicality of insurance, and we need to have strict regulations for it. Insurance industry is any day a very heavily regulated industry, but in life settlements, I totally agree that we need to have a very strict regulation and regime for life settlements, and this is somewhere is the reason why India is refraining from it. because we don't want to invest that much efforts into starting a new business or starting a new market, which is actually not very valid as per my analysis. I'll take you to the next slide. Just for the people who want to do research in this area. And I'll not go to till the last slide, as some of you must be seeing that I'm halfway in the PPT, but there are only few slides left. Other are only supplementary slides, so don't worry about it. So the top 5 keywords which I have used in my research, just to give a reference, are life settlements, insurable interest, longevity or longevity risk, life insurance, and systematic risk. Just to give you an idea of the researchers from other domain, what are the main things I have discussed. Coming back to the topic, I've done prisma analysis, and these are the patterns I have found. These are the themes that I have been working on. I'll take you to the next slide. When I found out that there is a possibility of life settlement market, establishment of a life settlement market in India, I did a comparative analysis, and I found out that the people with older age, 65 plus, is growing in USA, not only in Canada, not only in India, but also in USA. So there'll be more older people in the coming time, 2060s, like me and many of us, perhaps. So it is supposed to reach to 94.7 million by 2060. And in India also, it is supposed to reach 300 by 2050. So in India, we are growing faster. Our population is also growing faster, and the number of people growing older is also faster too. That is not a very good thing to see. But it will reach 300 million by 2050, which is a similar thing. So if it is working in USA, it can work in India, though there are differences, and I'll discuss the differences. Another stat that I found is that 23% of the people of 55 or more in USA are finding some kind of financial hardships. And the financial hardships are increasing only in the time of pandemic and uncertainties. Similar is the case in India. 59.1% people has to take some kind of credit or some kind of help, financial help basically. When we talk about surrendering the policy, in USA also the payout are low. In India also payouts are low. In regulatory environment, USA it is very complicated. And USA regulatory environment is very complicated because they have different laws. States have different laws. In India, environment is very much robust and centralized because insurance is a matter of the central list. So we have 3 lists in our constitution, sorry. And insurance is a matter of central list. So only central government makes law on insurance. This is where when we make a law, we can implement it uniformly across India. And that is where I think if we regulate life settlement, we have a better chance to have regulation and easy implementation. When we talk about legal similarities, both countries are common law countries. So the basic structure of legal domain is very similar. When we talk about assignment, policies may be assigned to the people without insurable interest. In India, it is prohibited. This is the difference. Surrender value payouts are low. When we talk about consumer protection, we have central authority. We have CCPA, Central Consumer Protection Authority. We have Central Insurance Regulator, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. So we are even in a better situation or better position than USA to regulate and implement the regulations. Now, a lot of people who research in finance might be saying that because of market reasons, life settlement might not work. I will not disagree with them. But as a law researcher, I am worried about states over intervention in the market. And I'm only saying that states should not regulate it. It should be regulated. It should basically be set free, and it should work on the principle of less is spent. Okay, so the first question that I have considered for this talk, which was basically whether or not insurable interest should be a requirement for the assignment of life insurance policy. I have considered it, and I have found few reasons for. Basically, I'll tell you the methodology. However, that is not much important. Comparative legal research methodology. So I've done a review of a lot of papers. I've also gone through the New York Life Settlement Law, which is based on NAIC law. I've also gone through the California life settlement law, which is also based on NAIC law, National Association of Insurance Commissioners, which is a USA model law. I've also gone through the Ontario Life Settlement Act, which unfortunately could not be passed. And that is an amazing discussion in the Legislative Assembly. If anyone is interested, I can share that. I've gone through that as well. And I have found few things. And these are the reasons because of which we should allow trading in life insurance policy. And these are the reasons why insurable interest is not a requirement. First of all, when I am making an insurance contract with a company, I should be free. I should have the equal position as insurance company to tell my terms. I can agree to it, I can disagree to it. Any day insurance company can say that okay, we do not have a product which gives you an option of trading. Absolutely fine. But state should not say that you cannot trade. I should have my freedom of contract. Second thing, life insurance is a property. Now I'll again take a minute and I'll again take you to an interesting analysis. Uh, just give me a minute. Okay. So in this paper, I have made a chart basically based on the thematic analysis of uh, few things. Just give me a minute. Yeah, this one. So if you have a look at it, see, life insurance is recognized by legal system. It is actionable claim. Actionable claim is anything on which you can file a case in the court. So if my claim is due, life insurance company is not giving me claim, I can file a case on it. So it is somewhere my right. Secondly, banks are considering it as an asset. So banks are giving me loan against my life insurance policy. Bank used to give me loan against my jewelry. Bank used to give me loan against my property. They are giving me loans against my life insurance policy. Then why it should not be considered as property? You have right to control and dispose your life insurance policy. The only right they are not allowing you is right to alienate. And that is where I'm saying that right to alienation should also be given. It is partially given, but in statute they are actually prohibiting it. And it is transferable, so that right should be available. I'll come back to the discussion. So freedom of contract, life insurance is a property, as I just explained you. If you want to discuss, basically go into the details, you can read the theory of Professor Holland, where he says that it includes right to use, right to alienate, and right to dispose. You can also read one of the major jurists in this area, Frederick Pollock, and there are many more. If you're interested, I can give you a list of them. You can get in touch over LinkedIn or some other or through email. So basically, life insurance is a property. You sell it, you buy because you buy it. You also should have a right to sell it, and it should be left to the market. Less is fair. It should be left to the market. Market should decide whether they would sell it or not. There is no need for state to make law on them. And a very beautiful thing which I have highlighted: return to freedom of contract. That is a return to the discipline of market offers is a more promising approach. This is basically I've taken from one of the articles. This is a 2007 article where the author is concluding that it is a better approach to leave things to the market and not interfere excessively in the market. We did it in 1991 when by the LPG policy liberalization, privatization and globalization. But somewhere we are again being, what should I say, unnecessarily interfering as a government. So this is where I analyzed the need of insurable interest, and from different angles I found out that it is not required, but I did not stop here. And I also went on and I analyzed the model law, NAIC model law, which is a USA law, also the New York Life Settlement Act and Washington Life Settlement Act, and few other Security Exchange Commission regulation, STOLI, which is stranger-owned life insurance policy, which is absolutely prohibited. As I said, I cannot buy policy for Maya or Janani. So basically that is STOLI, stranger-owned life insurance policy, not allowed, absolutely fine. I'm with it. So I've analyzed all those things, and what I found is these are the issues that we face when we try to regulate. Because in theory, it is very easy to say that we should regulate it, freedom of contract, insurable interest. But when we come to implementing it, I found these are the issues that India need to address, or Canada for that matter, if want to regulate it, have to address. First is multiplicity of intermediaries. SEC, NAIC, or be it many other regulators. Some tax regulator will come in, some insurance regulator will come in. So multiplicity of, for example, intermediaries, there may be an insurance company also, there may be a life settlement company, then we have policy broker, then we have life settlement brokers, life settlement agents. All these intermediaries should be heavily regulated so that we can ensure that, that the policy holder or the person who is trading in life insurance policy is not defrauded. Because this is what happens in life insurance market. You buy life insurance, at least in India, on the basis of the trust that you have on your agent. You're not an expert of it. So this should not be done. Other than that, multiple regulations, we need to streamline them. We have judicial divergence, so we need to come to a point where we can make pass laws by the parliament or by the legislature and streamline it. There should be strict disclosure requirement. So life settlement companies must disclose all their assets and all their business that they're doing. So these are few issues. For example, difficulty in accurately valuing policies. This is actually related to the regulation of intermediaries. So basically, if my age is 60, how much should I get out of the death claim? That's a big question. Perhaps finance researchers can tell me what should be done better. But still, we need to have a framework for it. And if any finance person is interested, I would be love to collaborate and do something in this regard. Because I am only limited to law. Okay. So accuracy of life expectancy is another issue, and let me tell you a very simple and a very interesting story of it. So life expectancy, what happened in 1980? Companies started buying policy from the people who had AIDS, and the people who had AIDS got benefit out of their policy. But after 10 years, technology developed, and all of these people survived. So when these people survived, companies who invested in life settlements, who bought the policy and were thinking that these people will die, actually were in loss. Pardon me. Actually, they were in loss, right? So what would be the life expectancy of a person is a difficult thing to measure. But that is a technicality. We have technology to deal with it. State should not stop business for that matter. And potential moral hazard, which I think is very imaginary. These are the few issues that we need to pay attention to, and these are the questions that we need to answer to when we come to implement life settlements. So till now we saw that we need not to have insurable interest in secondary assignment. When I have my life insurance and I need money in my lifetime, I should have a right to sell it. Now, when we are doing it as a government, what am I supposed to do? These are the things that we are supposed to do. Regulate the intermediaries, and basically try to make strict disclosure requirements, have parameters to assess life expectancy and the value of policy, and then you can regulate it. In India, what can we do? Because we are one nation and we are very much a unitary nation, though we have a taste of federalism as well. So we are one nation, we have one insurance regulator. So we are in a better position to regulate, and we should utilize it. So this is what India should do. Section 38, subsection 2 of Insurance Act 1938, the prohibition on trading in life insurance policy should be lifted. So there should be no more prohibition on trading in life insurance policies in India, and we should make uniform drafts on life settlements, and we should implement them nationwide. Heavy disclosure requirement, heavy regulation on intermediaries, and specific clear-cut guidelines for the eligibility of trading in life insurance policies. This is what perhaps we need, and if we do that, we can regulate the life settlement market in a better way. At the end, I can say that I would like to say that life settlement is property, and it also has huge potential of being considered as an investment class. And it has been done in US also. Many of you must be understanding it. When a company is purchasing life settlements, they can make a portfolio and then they can, resell some value of it to different people, and it can actually become an investment class, which would be very good for economic development. For that, we will further be required to regulate the investment in life insurance, investment in life segment transactions, which means that the way is the we have to go a long way to regulate life settlements, because there are many repercussions of regulating it. But by no means we may conclude that it should not be allowed. So I think that second, the assignment of life insurance policy to an unrelated person should be allowed, and it is the responsibility of the state to regulate this market and to give this option to the policyholders. Thank you. Now, if anyone have any question, they can ask.
Thank you, Yogendra. That was a very interesting talk. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, Janani has a question.
Yeah.
Yep, so I'm just gonna read the question out loud for the audience. So
Yes.
regarding the moral hazard in the context of life settlements, are you aware of any companies that are able to balance profitability and ethical responsibility? And if so, what mechanisms are they using?
A very relevant question actually. So in India, it is not allowed. So we do not have much and basically no information in India. But I have seen a few companies in USA. For example, Abacus Life Settlement is one company, and another company is Magna Life Settlement. I'll share the exact name. But the problem with these companies is that data is not reliable. To be very frank, I have got in touch with many people who are working for these companies or have worked for these companies. Data is not reliable, though on their websites and in their transactions they are showing profitability, and the ethical behavior to maintain the ethical responsibility. The only thing is to have strict disclosure requirement. And when I see New York life settlement regulations and the Washington life settlement regulations, they are very detailed, and they make sure that everything is disclosed to the policyholder and they are not defrauded. And they also give a window to the policyholder. If they are not satisfied with the transaction, then they can again undo it.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Anyone has any other questions? Please put it in the chat.
So if anyone is interested in further discussion, they can reach out to me on this email ID. Uh, I'll be more than happy to share the insights or collaborate on any other research related to this area or any other area. I think we do not have any question now.
Yeah. I guess that's because you explained everything very clearly. That was a very insightful and interesting talk. Thank you, Yogendra, for being here with us, and thank you everyone for joining.
It's and it's absolutely my pleasure. And I'm really glad to collaborate with this RISC, and I would like to be a part in future if any way I may be.
Yep.
And thank you so much, Janani and Maya, for being so patient and giving me this opportunity to present. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.